Thanks everybody for tuning in once again to the Manny Hall Show. We have on this episode Tori. Not only is she doing her thing in her industry, but she also tries her best to encourage people and have them to live a lifestyle that pushes them out of their comfort zone. So I'm very, very excited to have Tori on the line. Hey, Tori, how are you today?
Hey, Maddie, I'm doing very well.
Awesome. So can you tell them exactly what you do for those that don't know?
What I do basically is all under the umbrella of beauty, health, and wellness. As you said, my industry, like it has always been, is I'm a cosmetologist by profession. And being a cosmetologist, it kind of unfolds into other areas of pretty much selling confidence. So I do that by way of doing hair. But a lot of what I do is encourage women to, like you said, step out of their comfort zone and to kind of own who they are and to get comfortable with whoever they are and just kind of enhance their own natural beauty. And that's what I do for the most part. I have a community for single moms where we just are kind of like a sounding board where need be. For different struggles that we may be going through that it's kind of hard for other people to understand if they're not quite in that situation without the judgment, without being ridiculed or having that stigma of, the bitter baby mama. It's just a safe place for us to just kind of sound off of each other and have that community feel to know that we're not the only ones going through our situations, that we're not that, unicorn, that mythological feature, thing that, this is just us type of thing. So that, and then the health and wellness part, I'm a proud It Works distributor. So I get to suggest products to people that are plant-based and healthy for them to reach their goals.
Wow. So it sounds like you have a lot going on, but at the same time it all ties together, which is really a great thing. Because sometimes you'll see with entrepreneurs are doing like 5 different things, like they're fixing somebody's credit, they're doing nails, they have a landscaping company, and it's like all of them are separate industries. And I understand you got to get yours, you got to grind, but when they all tie together, it makes more sense. It becomes a little bit easier for your customer and client to come to you because you have a total package to offer them.
Right, it does, and that is actually something that I struggle with a lot, especially during my discovery stage, not business-wise, but personally. Just trying to figure out who I was as a person, what I had to offer, what was a hobby, what was, lucrative business, what was going to make the most sense for my life. And, you always hear people say, to niche down and, people need to know you for one thing. And I'm like, but I got 10 talents. Like, how am I supposed to just be known for one thing? So it is something I think that streamlined itself, and it made more sense the more I made more sense to myself. So the more I learned about who I was and what my purpose was and, what was actually going to pay the bills and where all of that overlapped, it really helped me to figure out how to present myself to the marketplace, how to announce my presence wherever I am.
I love that. So whatever made you get started, like way, way, way back in the day, when you started doing hair, when you started looking at beauty and all those different things?
Oh, my gosh. So, honestly, I have always done hair. Like, it was never a doubt in any of my family members' mind of what I was going to do when I got older. Like, I was a kid doing my cousin's hair in the attic, like playing with baby powder and lotion and Vaseline and mixing them with water, like real off the wall type of, I'm about to make a hair product type of thing. So with that one, it just kind of became a no-brainer. At one point I was like, oh, well, I'm doing hair. I went to hair school during high school. So I was like, college isn't for me. I'm doing hair, and that's that. Of course, that evolved into something different once I became of age and actually got out there. I did pursue a degree, but it was just something that I just was always interested in. And, luckily I had the family behind me to support and just kind of push me in the direction where I was already going.
I love that. So were there any challenges along the way?
Yes. But the challenges, I didn't see the challenges until I moved to Florida. So, I'm originally from Cleveland, which, how we know each other. But for the listeners' purposes, I lived in Cleveland for 25 years. And after grad school, I moved to Tampa, Florida. So after I had my master's, I was like, I'm done with doing hair. I'm about to go be this corporate beast. I'm about to climb this ladder. And so I came to Florida with high hopes of making it big in the corporate world, and that just did not pan out well. So after maybe about 4 or 5 years, I got fired from my really good job, and I was like, okay, now what? Do I continue to play this song and dance just at another company? And at the time, my oldest daughter was just about 2 or 3. So I wasn't seeing her. I felt like I was missing out. She was favoring the babysitter more than me. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So that's when I started back into hair, but in Tampa. And the challenge came because home, home is home. 25 years, people know me. Getting clients wasn't that hard. Building my business wasn't hard.
Yeah, let's really dig into that part, Tori, because I think that's a huge, huge, huge part to talk about, because it's always this success story. They see you now, and it's like, wow, she's doing her thing. She has these clients, these dope pictures of what she's produced with her amazing gift. Or then you see the start of it, I was on my way down there and, this happened, but I blew up. I'm good now. So it's I really want to take listeners through this process, because there's a lot of young ladies, even young men, that are in your industry or other chosen fields, and they think that it's from A to C without skipping that B part.
No, because, so initially, like I said, it was a skill. When you have, I guess, a vocation, you could say, you have that skill. So, of course, you're like, okay, I have a skill set. My skill set can make me money. But there's still the business side of it that you can't miss. You can't skip that learning curve, and that's when I really had to get into a business mindset, because I didn't do not even maybe a 16th of the marketing and business and emails and promotions and pictures and stuff when I lived and did hair back at home as I do now, because I had to work harder for it. It just didn't come as easy. Here I am, basically the new hairstylist on the block, and I had to figure out a way to make a name for myself and to attract not only clients, but the type of clients that I wanted to actually service.
Wow. And I don't want to skip over that point either, Tori, because what you just said was so powerful, that you had to begin to think about the clients that you wanted. See, I think a lot of times we begin to say, all right, I got this business idea. Here's my target market, and here's who I'm going after. Anybody within that target market. But it seemed like you were very specific in the way that you wanted to market towards not only your target market, but the segment of population inside of that target.
Yes. Yeah. I know who my client is from what she orders, whether she prefers Starbucks over Dunkin' Donuts, she like Macy's. It's literally, I really honed in on the type of client I wanted, because it makes my job easier. So starting off, back to that skill, back to that vocation, could even use a mechanic as an example. you can sit around and, service Hondas and stuff that's easy to service, and you can get, a little bit here, a little bit there, or you can service Jaguars, you can service Benzes. You're not going to service as many, but the amount of money you're going to get paid is going to be more. So you don't have to service many. So instead of 50 clients a week, I don't need to see 50 clients a week to make my income go. I'm good at like 12 or 15, and I'm not overexhausted. I still have time for my kids. I still have time for myself, and I'm not working myself crazy.
Wow. That makes sense. I love that. So that makes me think of the 4-Hour Work Week. Have you read that book by Tim Ferriss? Yeah, it was like everything that you just said, like in terms of decreasing the amount of hours that you have to put out and being able to use your skill and not have to work that many hours for it. So that's why he called it the 4-Hour Work Week, because he believes instead of having this 40-hour work week that I would normally work, because that's what everybody else in our society is doing, I can scale it back all the way to 4 hours and still be just as productive.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought you had read the book the way that you were talking about that.
No, not at all, but I might need to pick it up to figure out how to get more efficient. Sure.
Yeah, right. And so, Tori, like with this journey that you've been on from Cleveland to Florida, and as you have produced your clients, you've identified exactly who you want to work with. There's so many people out there that look at the success of you and maybe other entrepreneurs that they aspire to be and think that just because you've gotten to this point, now you have changed totally who you are. But I really want you to talk for a minute about really staying true to yourself. No matter how much success that you get, at the end of the day, you still have to walk in who you are.
Okay, so for starters, I feel like I'm just getting started. So I posted on Facebook that I share so much about my journey because I don't want anyone to believe I'm an overnight success.
Gotcha.
Because my overnight has been 17 years. We're just going on my 18th year being a licensed cosmetologist. So, okay, if this is overnight, then this night has been 18 years long. You know what I mean? So I feel like coming into myself, for one, starting in my profession very young, had it both its advantages and disadvantages because I had a lot more buffer time for my learning curve. So now that I'm going on 35, it's like I can be more specific and I can hone into what I need to do and, be more disciplined with that because I've learned over the last 18 years what works and what doesn't work. So as far as the level of success, I'm glad that, you feel like I've reached a level of success, but, within ourselves, we're our own worst critics. And, of course, there's always more for us to improve on, and we see, the goals on top of goals that we want to reach. So it's like I don't feel like I feel like I've accomplished some things, but I don't feel like I've reached, where I've really plateaued in my career. As far as the success level, like just touching on the entrepreneurial part, for one, it's definitely not for everybody. Like, if you do not have faith in God, I don't care what your religion is. If you do not have faith in God, you will be clocking in at somebody's job. I will be 100% transparent in my journey in being an entrepreneur. My bills go behind sometimes. Sometimes it's 1 week before the first, and I don't have it, and then out of nowhere, on the 8th day of the week, it goes up in my account. It's like it's a real, because you don't have that every 2 weeks, taxes taken out, this and that. Like, you don't get that. You can have a booming 6 months and a dry 3 months, and there's no real way to know when those seasons are coming, so you just kind of have to learn how to navigate through that and having faith to know that you will not fail. You know, okay, your cell phone might be off for 3 days. You good, though. You good. Like, you get your Wi-Fi.
Right.
Like, you know, so it's like those moments happen. And if people aren't prepared to, like, be like, I know I got to stay at home because I ain't got no gas money. Like, if you're not ready for that part of entrepreneurship, you might want to rethink it because those days happen to the best of us.
Yeah.
And now, as far as being true to yourself, I've always, you know, been one to scream authenticity, and I think it's more important than people give it credit for because and for personal reasons and personal development, of course, but when you talk business and when you talk putting yourself out there, when you talk marketing and communicating your brand message, if you don't know who you are or you're not speaking from a true place within yourself, your message will always change.
Yes.
I don't post to attract certain people. I post who I am, and I know that what I put out will be reciprocated and will reflect on the type of people that I draw in, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
totally makes sense.
I had to recognize a long time ago, I'm not a bad bitch, Manny. I'm not her. Like,
I understand. Right.
Like, I'm not that video vixen chick. Like, I'm a little geeky. I like yoga. You know, I'm a little hood. I can dig trap. So it's like I'm just a little eclectic, and I'm a little less, and I'm okay with that. But it's cool because so are my clients. You know,
but that's the thing. That's the thing I love about it. Like, I noticed you remember back in the day, going to Pastor Vernon Church, where he would give that example about that crackhead that she knew she was a crackhead, but she walked around so freaking confidently that it didn't even seem like she was affected by her state of being a crackhead.
Right.
And it's like, that's what I love about what you just said. It's like you walk in like who you are. And like, I realized like when I met my wife, I told her, I said, babe, look, well, not babe at that time because I wasn't calling her babe yet. But I said, you know, Marlia, this is me. I got a little belly on me, trying to lose it. Been trying to lose it for a while now. It's still ain't gone. I'm bald head, not going to get no hair where I want it to be, so that's why I cut it all off. I got my little beard, but I'm short too, and that's my life. And I got some kids, and I was married before. If you can't do all of this, then bounce.
Yeah.
I'm not going to chase you and try to make you or anybody else comfortable with who I know that I am that I can't change.
Exactly. Like, I'm always, from this point until gravity says otherwise, going to be 5 foot. Like, there's nothing that's going to make me taller. You know, it's just like, this is who I am. You know, this is what you can expect. But being authentic in who you are in your personal and business life means that you don't have to think twice about encountering or meeting people. So, you know, social media has such a prominent presence in all of our lives that, you know, if someone, let's just say if I'm out here, you know, slaying wigs and whipping my hair around and dropping it, just doing all the extra stuff, that's not me. And then you come into my studio and I'm playing Jill Scott and, you know, Kalani and all these other awesome artists. Like, it's like, wait, what happened to, you know, this? What happened to that? It's like, no, that was for the gram. That wasn't me. And I can't live like that. Like, because I ain't got that kind of time.
No,
so,
my gosh.
I don't have that kind of time to switch up for you or anybody else. So it's like, you may catch me without my eyebrows.
Too much work.
It is. It's like, listen, I might have my eyebrows drawn in today. I may not. Like, you get what my daughter came home from school one day talking about you get what you get and don't have a fit. Like, that's the real.
Yeah.
Like, because this is me. I'm still going to do your hair. You going to leave looking, you know, better than me, and that's cool, too, because this is what I do. So it's like just having that authenticity and walking in who you are, like you said, it's like it means the work. It takes a burden off of your shoulder because you could just be you, and the people that encounter you love you just for that. They don't love you because of the facade you're putting on. They love you because of who you are, and that builds your confidence. And believe it or not, it gives other people power to be themselves, especially if they're not the typical, the typical A-lister type person. So it all works good for sending out that positive energy.
Yeah, and it's so important because at this day and age, like you said about social media, this is the way of the world. Like I think maybe about 7 or 10 years ago, people would say, I don't need Facebook. I don't have to be on there. Then like 5 years ago, I don't need Instagram. But now it's just like, you ain't got nothing? What?
Right.
Like, and it's more than just surprising. It's almost like a culture shock. Like, you aren't really in our society if you don't have social media. And then especially in the business sense, like, you can't say that you do nails, hair, makeup, and you not on no social media outlet. You can't do that because nobody's passing around flyers anymore. Like, hey, hit me up, talk to my girl. Because even if you as a young lady, or you refer somebody, that friend of yours, that coworker, whatever, is going to ask, what's their social media, so that I can look at some stuff.
And no one's remembering websites anymore. It's like, I want to see your work and I want to compare, and it's really a consumer market in that sense, which is great, because as long as they can see and compare, they're good. But yeah, without social media at this point, it's like, it's a wash. Like, you have to have that presence. And it's not even necessarily about followers as more as it is of having that brand presence for people to find you.
Right. And like you said a little while ago, too, your brand, although you might not actually have your name as part of your social media tag and name, that part is okay. But if you have your name posted out there and you're showing your products, again, like you said, it has to be consistent. I think one of the things that bothers me the most is when I see this person that it's like, okay, they can make cupcakes. No, although you can still make some great cupcakes and you could twerk, I don't want to see your whole page full of twerk videos and then you got some cupcakes every now and then posted too.
Yeah, no. Because now I'm confused. I think I have 4 or 5 Instagram accounts. And at all except for my that chick Tori on Instagram is specific. So for my business page, it's Brilliant Beauty Tori, and that is for my hair. That's where you see my work, and I speak to my audience from our lifestyle perspective, with quotes and certain things like that. But it's specific. I just don't care, kind of going back to that authenticity piece, I just don't care enough to structure my personal Instagram that way because it's me. I'm not going to sit up here and schedule every single post. I'm not going I don't have time. Like, I can't do that. I do that for my businesses because that serves a purpose. Even though I understand that, I am a personal brand, I just look at it a little different. I look at it a little outside of the box just so it can keep that human feel because nobody wants to follow a person and then feel like they're following a business. Like, no, I'm going to show you me. I'm going to incorporate everything that is me on this page, but it's going to be off the cuff. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and premeditate all this stuff. Like, I can't.
Because they're really buying into you. And no matter how much, like, technology we begin to have in our world, that personal relationship a computer could never do.
Right. Yep. That human touch is vital. It shows up in dating and everything else with the people, texting more than picking up the phone or, talking on the phone more than you're going out to over a cup of coffee. Like, that human touch is a necessity. Everything else should just be complementary to that connection and that relatability factor.
Now, whatever made you tap into that piece, did you always instinctively feel that that was important?
Which part?
As far as
social media
just like
marketing?
building that relationship and being like that human touch component with your clients.
So mind you, I had clients before social media age stamp.
Right.
So before I could post anything on Facebook, you know, having clients, like, women literally sit down in my chair, and if we make a good connection, I know about their whole life.
Mm.
So it was almost like a giving, you know, that they have to trust me. And part of being a hairstylist was to know that if they were actually sitting in my chair, that I already had their trust. Wow. All I had to do was give them a reason, not give them a reason to take it away. So I had to deliver, you know, of course, on good service and talk to them. And, you know, I share a little bit about my personal life, and I think that's just the ministry part of me that I probably share more than maybe an average person would in a business relationship. But I know a part of my big picture, you know, purpose. And I know that sharing about my life helps other people in ways that I can't really imagine or know all the time. So I think for me, that's where it started, that relationship, because there will be a lot of times, you know, where clients will become friends, you know, or friends will become clients. So it's kind of like a balancing act, just something for me to pay attention to just kind of gauge where I am, you know, like, where are we in this business relationship? Are we going to hang? If you invite me for drinks on Friday, or, you know, you invite me out to movies with you and your girls, am I going to go? Am I going to feel awkward going back and forth between business and personal? Because sometimes that happens too. But for the most part,
so how do you deal with that part?
It gets
Can that be tough?
It can, and it can, because, you know, me as a friend, I do your hair for free. But because I got to eat and my kids do too, I have to charge you. So it gets tricky. And, of course, as I've grown in business, I can kind of gauge if it would be okay beforehand and kind of where those lines are drawn. But the most that I do, usually it's not a problem when a friend becomes a client. It's usually tricky when a client becomes a friend.
Gotcha.
But for me, in those instances, I set boundaries in my business and how I run my business, and I don't let anyone kind of jump those boundaries. So I have a business line, a personal line. So some of my clients may have my personal line. They can text me about personal stuff, but if you texting me on Sunday, sending me pictures after picture after picture of how you want your hair done next, I'm not going to respond to you until Monday or Tuesday, because my hours are not to
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So have you ever had to confront someone, like, when in that situation like that arose?
Yeah, but
like
it's always gentle.
Just not respond to them.
Well, I mean, that's a passive-aggressive way of doing it. But sometimes it's just gentle, like, hey, girl, you know, I'm enjoying my pet. Like, I remind them that I'm human. I remind them that I'm not always at the salon. Like, I might say, you know, hey, girl, I'm enjoying the kids today. Let's talk about this on Tuesday. Or, you know, is Wednesday okay? A good time to.
That's good.
Yeah, so.
That's good. And I like the way that you were presented like that, because it's not coming off in a rude or harsh way, but it's just like, hey, let me remind you of the boundary that was set.
Yeah.
And I think that, too, many entrepreneurs don't have those boundaries in many different industries. So, you know, I'll be this landscaping guy or the snowplow guy, and you, as one of my clients, brought me in to get some hot cocoa, or you said, hey, you want some water on a hot day, and then I'm in the house and I'm kicking it with you, and now we drinking, and now we chilling, And then next thing you know, you're like, hey, so you ain't going to charge me for the next time. Oh, yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Like, would you like me to pay for this cocoa? Because, like, then that's it. Like, I can give you $5, like, because this ain't that. Like, some people do that. Though. Like, some people, I mean, I think it's a huge character flaw, but I think some people really do try to, you know, butter their way into privileges. Like,
absolutely.
And I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It's been done to me before, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, if you want to butter your way into some privileges, tip me well. I'll come in on my day off. Like, if you want to, like, show me in a way that translates, you respect me as a professional. Like, because a cup of cocoa ain't going to do it.
Right. I love it. That's very true. And Tori, I wanted to tell you that I do hear that accent coming out too. So don't forget where you came from. You're from Cleveland. I heard that little country.
No, my God. And it's so funny because even when I moved here, people said that I talk country. And they were like, where are you from, Mississippi? And I'm like, Cleveland, like Northeast Ohio. Wow. So it is weird, though, because I have a couple friends that try to get on me. They're like, oh, Latoya, with your little southern twang. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where that came from. Like, I guess it just happened. I don't know.
Right. So as we wrap up, I just want to get a couple of more questions out. Now, what does Tori do for her morning routine as an entrepreneur that you can maybe suggest some of your ideas to other people?
Okay, so I probably wouldn't suggest this, but if you're a creative, if you're a creative, you probably can relate. So my mind, like, you've ever seen that meme, you know, on social media or Instagram, it's just like, you know, talking to a creative, or so it's like talking to someone that has like 100 tabs open.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yep. Uh-huh.
So that's me, and it's pretty much impossible to shut all of them down. So, like, most of the time in the morning, and I'm trying to be more disciplined within myself to find balance. So prior to January 1, it was like literally sometimes I'll wake up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and grab my phone and write notes, or like just having to get those ideas out. And when I'm waking up in the morning, it's honest all day. It's a constant, and I don't know if it's just me, but it's a constant. What can I be doing right now that's productive? I don't watch much TV. Like, I just don't, because it's too much stuff to be done, you know, especially if you're a one-man army. It's like you don't have that huge team. So you are the marketer. You are the social media manager. You are everything. So now I'm trying to wake up. I'm committing myself to working out 3 days a week before I start my day. I love Deepak Chopra and his meditation challenges that he does with Oprah. So usually I'm trying to listen to a couple of tracks from a meditation CD just to kind of quiet myself so that I can hear what's most important.
Yeah.
And I love yoga, so I'm trying to incorporate that at least once a week, some kind of way. But the tip that I would give an entrepreneur is there is, what is that saying? There's a method to the madness. You know, it has to come out. So I will honestly suggest for any creatives or entrepreneurs to get you a brainstorming notebook, like no lines, just blank pages, and just carry it with you 24/7 and just write down your ideas that way, because I'm also an overthinker. And if I sit and try to plan it out, I'm going to try to map it and graph it and outline it, and that's not the way it always comes to you, right? You get sometimes pieces, and then you later got to go back and connect the dots. So I think a brainstorming notebook is really good. Something for you to keep notes in, just to jot down those random shooting star type of ideas that you have, to be able to write those down at any given moment.
That's good stuff. So what motivates you?
Man, I'm motivated by having success that succeeds me. So my kids, something that it just kind of haunts me. I don't know if it just comes with parenting or anxiety or what, but not being there for my kids. Like, I know one day I'm going to pass, right? I know one day I'm not going to be there for my kids. I want to make sure that everything that I have touched, I have built, that I have set them up to succeed. So that motivates me a lot. It's a different ball game when you have other lives depending on your one life. So you're not one person anymore. You're as many children as you have, plus yourself, plus your spouse, but you have one. So it's like, to me, that motivates me, is to get everything out that I know that I'm supposed to do, not to be idle with anything, because you don't know what's going to fit where. You just have this pending urge to get it out. You don't know what it's going to become or what it may snowball into or what it may open up for someone else. But for me, my kids, having them set up properly to be, successful as adults, and I have to kind of hustle backwards to do things like go to college, like, that's important for me.
I love that. So then when times do get hard and you have this motivation, tangibly, is there any particular person that you depend on to, and you don't have to say their name, but you depend on to really help you get through those tough times?
Absolutely. I have a business bestie, and it's like you really need someone, and you need someone that has enough confidence in you when you don't have enough confidence in yourself. Like, they believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. They see what's inside of you. They see you for who you are, and they know what your potential is, and they're not ever going to let you forget that. You need those people. Like, I'll shoot a text and say, hey, I need a pep talk. And then it's like, you are amazing, you are beautiful, you have a lot to contribute, I think you're dope, it's like,
right.
It's like that confidence boost, like, okay, I'm good now, I'm good, you need those people, you have to have them.
Yeah, and I definitely think that rings true, because I have had my, what I call, like, support team around me, and it's like sometimes 3 or 4 people that when I get ready to drop a book, I'll send everybody over the cover. And if 3 out of the 4 all think it's just horrible, then I'm like, I need to really reconsider this, because it might not be that dope. Because in my mind, I thought it was dope, but they like, I don't know. And so, like, I use them each individually for different things. So when I feel discouraged, going through different things, it's like, okay, man, I need a word. Like, and this is females included too. So since I need a word, I'm like, oh man, like, you tripping? Like, get all that craziness out your head. You good, you fine, God got you, you're on the right road, like, don't give up. And then somebody else will be like, is you stupid? Like, everything that you got to do and accomplish, and you about to give up? I'm about to get off the phone.
But what people don't understand, and I know we're, wrapping up, but what people don't understand unless they get to that place, like, I went to, I think Oprah, I know for sure it was Oprah. She had an event, I think it was called, like, The Life You Want Now or something like that tour, and it was Iyanla, it was Deepak, it was a lot of different people, but just one lady was talking about success, and she was talking about when you are pursuing your dreams, there's a threshold where you know that once you cross this point, like, once you hit enter on this email, once you publish this book, once you open this business, like, it serves as a threshold where you know that you can't go back to mediocrity. Like, you know that you cannot go back. This is the threshold that I know once I launch this project, once I open up this online store, once I do this, there's no turning back. Like, I'm going to have to keep going, because You know, a lot of us are silent successes in our own home. But it's like once we get so far out there, people don't understand that that's scary.
Yeah.
And that crossing that threshold is scary. What am I going to do? What if like, you know, you start thinking crazy. You're like, oh, my God, what am I going to do after this? How am I going to handle all that is to come from this? And I don't think enough people realize, you know, that those moments, like, you are looking at your destiny and your greatest fear at the same time. And you're like, they looking the same right about now. You know, so it's scary, but...
And I think that and everything you said, like, I'm sitting here, like, literally closing my eyes to it, like, that was so dope what she just said. Because I got to go back now and listen to this whole show because it's now helping me as entrepreneurs as well. So it's just like, it's so key because it's like, for me, when I look at me, when I look at you, a lot of similar things in terms of like our creativity and just thinking outside the box and doing something different that's not being currently done. And when I got ready to do this show, and some people know this, I always wanted it to be like in a studio, like you mentioned Oprah and like Montel back in the day. And then as time went on, like everything was going wrong. Like I couldn't find the right couches that I wanted. I couldn't find the location that was the best. And I couldn't find the right cameraman. So I was just like, forget it, I'm going to just put it all on hold. And then probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I felt like this push from God, like, do the Manny Horse Show. And I'm like, well, I can't do the Manny Horse Show. I ain't got a place. It's like, no, you don't have to do your show like everybody else does it that you're thinking of. You're going to go to people wherever they at. If you can't find a location, you're going to be in a library sometimes. You're going to be at somebody's house sometimes. You're going to be able to phone with them. I was like, yeah, but that seems kind of like what? Different? Yeah, that's what I want to do. And it's like, you don't need to fit inside this box that everybody else is doing. And it's like, a large part of me sometimes gets so afraid and nervous because although it's like this perfect, great story a year from now, 2 years from now, once the Manny Horse Show blow up, then we'd be like, wow, I remember I was doing an interview with Tori and I'm sitting here living in Warrensville Heights. We ain't got all this, we ain't got all that. Carlos sitting in the driveway, messed up. That's a great story for later. But living in it right now, it's like, God, you're making me now expose myself and to touch into these different places that help other entrepreneurs and then showcasing what they doing. Some of them making more money than me, and then I'm sitting back trying to interview them, and it's like this weird, vulnerable place, but it's just like, that's why I felt what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nothing matters more than it getting done. Like, but did you do it? Like, but did you do it? Because that, to me, shows the tenacity of a person. Like, don't come to me with 1,000,001 ideas. Did you do it? Because, okay, so you were talking about books. So the latest book that I listened to was the audio book of The Power of Broke by Damon John.
Wow. I've been meaning to pick that up. Was it good?
It was, and I'm glad that I listened to it just because of the format. It was like a collective of success stories and examples of the power of being broke in a lot of different business models and like in a storytelling form. So it's like that power of being broke, it's like we all can come up with 1,000,001 reasons why we can't do anything. Like, down to brushing our teeth if we want to. Like, there's excuses out there, you know, but just finding those ways to make it happen anyway. Like, I don't have internet. I don't have a computer. And you follow me on social media, and you would never know that I don't. Every time that I work, I'm leaving my house, going to sit down in my leasing office to work on their computer and using their internet to get my stuff done. I'm not letting that stop me from getting what I need done. because it's not really a factor. The factor is how determined am I to see my dreams come true? How determined am I to put out what I need to do to make sure that I'm making the type of money I need to make? And the same thing goes for you in this show. It doesn't matter about a couch. Like, you're figuring out a way to get this done without the excuses. So it does, none of that other stuff matters. You know, did you do it, though? Like, but did you die? Like, you know,
I hear you.
Did you do it? Did you do it? And yes, you did it. And that's all that matters, is getting stuff done, because it's a lot of people sitting with a lot of stuff in their notebooks and in their minds, and they're not pulling the trigger. And I'm just not for that. Like, I'm going to fail before I not even try. Like,
I love
period.
that.
Period.
I love it. Now, since this is going to be the first show aired for 2018, what do you have to say to those individuals that are trying to start the new year off with a resolution or just different goals or dreams?
Okay, so first I want to tell you that I'm, like, really honored that you asked me. I don't know if you were expecting any pushback, but, of course, when you send me the message, I'm like, oh, yeah, shoot. You know, just let me know when.
I was very grateful that you said yes.
Well,
like,
thank you. And you're welcome.
For granted with people. Like,
yeah.
You think that you have this great relationship with people that you see every day, or you ain't seen in 5 or 6 years. So, like, I don't want to take you for granted. Like, Tori, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because it's on the show, but, like, I admire you.
Oh,
and although,
thank you.
Yeah, honestly, and, like, although I know you from back in the day, you have transformed into this new woman that deserves a different type and level of respect that I gave you before.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So for everyone out there wanting to start a new year, wanting to start off the new year, don't let anybody talk you out of doing what you know that you're supposed to do. So there's always people like, oh, you know, everybody go be in the gym. Oh, everybody go be in the church. Oh, new me, new year post coming out. You know what? If it takes a new year, if it takes a day in the calendar to shift for your mind to shift, because that's the main focus, then so be it. Some people, you know, they shift and they reflect on their birthday. Some people do it on the New Year. I don't care when it happens, full moon. I don't care, but don't let other people's, you know, ridicule of what you're doing or the timing of what you're doing depreciate the value and the fact that you're choosing to change your mindset. So if it takes the new year to come in for you to want to lose 10, 20 pounds, okay, this is the new year, because ain't nobody going to be saying nothing come July and August when you on the beach in Cancun looking good, looking like a snack. Like, nobody's going to have anything to say. So just whatever it is that, you know, you guys are out there pursuing, do it. Just change your mind. Set your mind to do what you know you are called to do. It's only going to eat you alive if you don't. There are small steps that you can do every single day to get you towards that goal, whether you work a 9 to 5, a 9 to 9. It doesn't matter. There's something that you can do to head yourself in the positive direction of where you're going and where you want your goals to be reflected. If you have to put on blinders, put on blinders. If you have to only post on social media through a third party just to kind of keep yourself from not being distracted, do that. But definitely don't let anybody else and their negative or whatever they have going on over there taunt or taint what you're trying to do in your life, because I'm sure they don't pay none of your bills. They're not losing no sleep over what you talking and turning about. They're irrelevant, you know. So just go for what you want. I think now is always better than later, and that's it.
I love it. So how can they get in contact with you?
So, probably, because I'm actually working on my personal blog where I'll have all that contact and email and all that kind of stuff. So I would probably say the easiest way to connect with me would be on Instagram. I love to interact with people on Instagram. It just shows a different side of people's personality that you don't necessarily get on another platform, in my opinion. So my Instagram is at that chick Tori, ChatChickTori. I have contact links on there for email and slide in my DMs if you want to collab, and collab only. No, but that's probably the best way to connect at this point via social media.
Awesome. Well, Tori, thank you so much for being on the show. This was a real treat for me. I felt like I was able to just kind of sit back and just learn from you today, and this was a great thing for me. So I know that the audience will enjoy it as well.
Oh, well, thank you again. I'm honored to be your first guest in the new year, and much success to you in the radio show and everything else you have going on with your beautiful family.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody, that was Tori. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you soon.